Today we will talk about solving and graphing inequalities. An inequality is a statement that states two expressions are not equal. For example, y plus 5 is less than negative 6. Any number that works for y that makes this statement less than negative 6 would work. There is always more than one solution. The solution of an inequality is the set of all numbers that produce true statements when substituted for the variable. So in the example above, if we wanted it to be less than negative 6, there are infinitely possible solutions for numbers that would work that would make it less than negative 6. Let's look at some examples. You don't have to write this down. X is less than 3. Any number would work for x that would be less than 3. So 2, 1, negative 1, etc., etc. Y is greater than 2. So all numbers would work for y that are larger than 2. Z is less than or equal to 4. All numbers less than or equal to 4, including 4. So 4 works, and so does 3 and 2, and so on. And n is greater than or equal to 2 means all numbers that are greater than or 2 will also work for n. Okay. Fill in your blanks. So to solve and graph inequalities, you just solve like a regular equation. Keep in mind, the sign flips when multiplying or dividing by a negative when isolating the variable. Number 2. When graphing on the number line, draw a circle over your solution above the number line. If it's just less than or just greater than, you draw an open circle. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, you draw a closed circle to show that that solution is also part of it. And then you draw an arrow in the direction of the solution set to show that all numbers either to the right or to the left of your circle work. Let's look at some examples. X is greater than 3. There's nothing to solve here. X is already isolated. On the number line, you can draw a circle above 3. Keep it open because it's just greater than 3, not also equal to 3. And since its number is greater than 3, all numbers to the right, that's why you draw an arrow showing all numbers to the right would work. You can put your solution in the middle and one number to the right and one number to the left of your solution on the number line. So you don't have to fully complete your number line. Let's look at another example. X is less than or equal to 5 squared minus 21. Well, x is isolated, but let's simplify this. X is less than or equal to 25 minus 21. X is less than or equal to 4. So on the number line, we can put 4 in the middle, 5 to the right, and 3 to the left. We will draw a closed circle or a filled-in circle because 4 is also part of your solution because x is also equal to 4 and also numbers less than 4. So we draw it to the left. Okay, let's look at an example we have to solve for x. Negative 4x is less than or equal to 20. Well, I have to divide both sides by negative 4. Because I'm dividing both sides by negative 4, remember the rule is when you multiply or divide by a negative to isolate your variable, you must switch the sign. So now instead of it being less than or equal to, we've changed it to greater than or equal to. X is greater than or equal to negative 5. Be careful about your number line. You can put negative 5 in the middle. Remember, as we go to the right, we have negative 4, and as we go to the left, we have negative 6. Draw a filled in or a closed circle above negative 5 because it's also equal to. You have that line showing that it's equal to. And all numbers greater than negative 5, so those would be numbers to the right. You can draw your arrow. How would you write this inequality? if there's a sign outside the ride that says you must be at least 35 inches tall in order to ride this ride, how could you show this? Well, at least is saying you need to be 35 inches tall or more. So if we use X to represent your height, you need to be greater than or equal to 35. You must show the equal to sign also because you can be 35 inches to ride this ride. You just can't be anything less than that. Okay, try to match all of these number lines with the expressions below, or the inequalities below. So number 1 is showing a filled in circle on 35, which should tell you that it's also equal to 35, and then it's pointing to numbers that are less than 35. So you should have thought B. Number 2, you have an open circle on 35, which means it's not also equal to 35, and numbers to the right that are more than 35, so you're looking at D. Number 3, 35 is filled in, which means that it's also equal to, and numbers greater than. So we would say A. And finally, leaving us with C, numbers that are less than 35, not including 35. Now you're going to try a self-assessment on your own to see how you do. Number 1, X divided by -2 is less than 1. Pause the video here. You should have multiplied both sides by -2 to isolate X. Because you are multiplying by a negative to isolate X, you should have remembered to flip the sign. And now you get X is greater than -2. You draw an open circle on -2 because it's not also equal to -2, and numbers greater than are to the right. 2x is less than or equal to -10. Pause the video here. You should have divided by 2 on both sides. Because you are dividing by a positive number, -10 was already negative, you're dividing by a positive number to isolate the variable. You do not need to flip the sign. So since you divide by +2, you get x is less than or equal to -5. Because it's also equal to, you should have drawn a filled in circle on -5 pointing to the left, all numbers less than -5. Number 3, x minus 5 is greater than or equal to -3. Pause the video here. You should have added 5 to both sides, giving you x is greater than or equal to +2. Draw an open, or rather draw a closed circle on 2 because it's also equal to 2, and all numbers to the right. And finally, number 4, write the inequality to express this situation. The most Carly can spend on groceries this week is $57. Pause the video here. You should have said x is less than or equal to 57. If x stood for the amount of money she can spend on groceries, it's less than or equal to, she can spend 57 because that's at most, or she can spend 56, 53, or 0, anything like that. You are now done. You can practice the around the world activity, go around the room, and you can check your answers in the manila folder. If you have any questions, be sure to ask, and if you're all done, you can always start your homework.